I want to just present briefly. We are now in the third year since we started PDM, and the PALLISA district has 90 circles, 90 parishes, and we also established the 90 circles, and they are all operational. And those circles have 3,984 enterprise groups, through which the beneficiaries actually access money. The government has been able to fund 90 circles all with 100 million per year, except for the 45 circles that were the pilot circles that were given 17 million shillings. So in fact, the 45 circles have so far received, in the first year they received 117. Now plus the additional 200 million for the subsequent years, that's around 317 million that they have received. So in total, PALLISA has received 27 billion 765 million. That is from government. And subsequently, we have also been able to disburse this money to the beneficiaries through our circles. And we have so far given to 27,765 households. We have a few that have not received, and those ones are basically going to receive from the interest. We have some interest that are accrued in the banks, and which interest actually has been transferred to Wendy. Some receive through the account, some are going to receive through Wendy. So those are the few that have a few Pdm related challenges. So I want to say that this money has also created a number of what? It has been given to 7,988 women, 7,598 youth, 7,313 men, 2,419 PWDs, and 2,441 elderly persons. Before this money is always given out, we do a lot of awareness creation. Just like that, this has told you, right from the district here through the RDCC time, the stock show. We also convene meetings, first of technical people, technical and political. Then we also go down to different sub-counties to ensure that people follow the guidance that actually have been put to disburse this money. So this is all aimed at making sure that the implementation modality is actually put into place and that the program runs smoothly. I must commit and bring to this office that this program has also been able to create a number of jobs. First, the people who have received this money, they are now busy and engaged. Then additional to people who are offering services through this program, I've been able to populate the Wendy agents. So far we have 32. So who are now being employed as a result of PDM. I've not been able to capture more those ones who are giving services like inputs, but the majority of them, those who are selling birds. So especially through wisdom and those who are breeding, who are still completing that and shall be able to give a comprehensive one. They do breeding and then they sell to the farmers. The number of jobs have actually been created by this program, which is actually helping to address the objectives of His Excellency the President. I would also want to bring here that I have here a breakdown of a number of circles, each circle and how much they have been able to receive. But amidst this progress and these achievements, we also have a few challenges. And these challenges are basically, some of them are policy related, that we shall maybe need your intervention that effect. One is that the system, particularly the passive management information system, the blue process involved in it is actually too long and looks a little bit complicated. You find you have got a person with the mismatching information in the system, and now the person who is actually handling this is actually the CDO. But you find that the CDO is not able to complete the application process. Will have to refer. They refer to the district IT officer. The district IT officer does this part, but still the information is not it's not changing. Sometimes when some of this, when you refer to the service desk administration of ICT, they tell you right, and the signature must be of the chief administrative officer. So sometimes you write letters and then they keep on throwing back, this must be done by you. Then it's sending it back that it must be done by you, but you're not given the procedure on how you should go about with it. So this kind of thing delays disbursement. And at the end of the day, sometimes the people who are involved in the process down here get discussed in the process and say, now we recommend the group gets another person. And then this person has been captured in the system, and the system will count this person. I mean, people will capture this person in the system like a person who received the money, and actually the person didn't receive the money. What we've actually seen, there's a decent list that we got from our deputy Diso. I think the source could be, I don't know. You find that all the people who were in the PDMs were saying that they had got the money, some of which didn't receive the money because of this kind of money. So this issue of the system also needs to be addressed. Then the other thing is, we would actually recommend that if it's possible, let us organize this user rights. If it's through the auditing, the person who is responsible for that particular part should be able to complete the process, so that now the process is made smooth and faster. The other thing is limited access to view funds accessed and disbursed by SACCOs, limited tracking of disbursements and payment beneficiaries, particularly to ask the commercial officers. You'll find they can call and say, how much money do you have in the account? But I do not have the money. Money comes directly from Ministry of Finance to SACCO accounts. And the people who are able to access that money are only the SACCO leaders. But they ask me, a technical person, how much money we have received in the account. I cannot be able to. Then sometimes, how do we stand in terms of disbursement? They also are not able to view the statement, but maybe the finances in the SACCO accounts and say, this is how the SACCO is standing at. But I have also to depend on the SACCO leaders. So you find that the process itself becomes a little complex, delays the reporting process, and even cannot help us to track and see, and maybe be able to take a proactive action and say, these ones have not disbursed, and say, what is the reason why you're not disbursing this money? So this is also why we need some bit of policy to that effect. If we could be able to access, just to view these statements and view the accounts of this, so that we can be able to know and objectively report when required. The other thing is the lack of facilitation for operational funds. Here I want to talk particularly today to the desk, like a district point person of the pillar heads. What's required of us is quite much, but to date there is no facility that effect. If I require you to do this, help audit this, help do this, but there is no funding to that effect. So you find that this actually at times makes the work a little bit difficult, and also keeping up to date with the reports. Then also lack of transport for close monitoring and supervision of SACCOs. At the desk level, still there is no transport. Then when you come to the pillar heads, and also there is no means of transport. And particularly comes to train. Train has no transport, not even a motorcycle. And yet there are so many issues at SACCO level. Governance issues. I've had a number of things people are saying this one is not working, this one is not performing their roles, there's conflicts there, but you can't handle things proactively. You attempt to do things after you have received it. That's what RDC said. When you get the report, you now react instead of you being proactive.
These are technical issues which we can request the Ministry of Information and National Guidance to ensure that they respond to this, so that the disbursements do not delay because of the system. The system is supposed to aid, quick disbursement, not again becoming a hindrance. So I'm going to take this and then we talk to the pillar manager, because PDM is based on pillars, and so Ministry of ICT is the pillar manager for this. So we are going to bring it out and to see what they can do. They should be able to respond to this. And then limited access to funds, accessed and disbursed by SACCOs, then is tracking, viewership, you're talking about viewership. This is also a technical thing, it's no issue. But also we know that according to the Cooperatives Act, which these SACCOs are made from, these people have the right, all the rights. That's why the money comes straight to them and doesn't go through the district. And I think even if you don't view, you still have the authority to ask them to give you reports. So I think this shouldn't be a very big challenge. Even if the money goes down to them, structurally, there's no way you're going to be part of them. That one. But you have the responsibility to ensure that you're monitoring and seeing that what they are doing is right, building their capacity. So what I would suggest right now is that you can still demand them to give you the reports when the money has come, who is getting, dispersing, who is receiving the money, and the detail. At least government has that responsibility in terms of capacity building for the circles. You have the right to see. But to include you in the system so that you view, I'm not sure how that one works. But I know that it can do what? You can still have that capacity to view. For now, the system doesn't seem to allow it, but it doesn't stop you from doing your work. That's what I'm trying to say. You can still get that information, you demand for results. And then lack of facilitation for operational funds. Yes. That's why we are now talking about a program approach. When you're doing your budgets as a district, we now encourage you to do it together, so that some of these things have to appear in your budgets for them to be funded. There's not going to be money coming differently for PDM if it's not in the budget. That's what I would suggest right now. But we acknowledge that you need, because giving this money, all these resources have added extra demand on your time and everything. But I would think for now, I'm going to raise these things. We've raised them actually already. But in order for us to continue working and not keeping on bringing the same issues, is that have them in your plans. If you need transport, put them in your budgets as part of, government has allowed a program approach, as I said. I hope you understand what it is. Yes, as per the NDP 4. So I think that's a better way that we can fix most of the things, include them there, than wait for a separate fund from the Secretariat. The Secretariat doesn't have operational funds for local governments. For us, we are just a coordinating entity, within local governments, and also for policymakers to make decisions for progress. So for now, I think let's utilize this framework to make sure that you have everything included, than wait until, And I'm also sure that the government and the president personally has goodwill, because when we kept on telling him about the parish chiefs, they were not staying in the parishes, they were coming from far, and there was a problem. I was in that meeting, he quickly said, let's add them money. He directed me to finance there and then. Let's give them 100,000 for accommodation so that they can stay. Because proximity is one of the key issues or factors for PDM to succeed. The parish, the person has to be in the parish so that people can find him. And the reason why we chose a parish for PDM is that it's small enough compared to sub-county, where somebody can move from the center to you can even use your feet to walk, to the periphery of the parishes. So let's look at the strategy and then look at what is required. We don't just want things for the sake. When they say let them get the bicycles at first, they say they wanted motorcycles so that they travel from where they are and come to the parish. The president said no, let them buy bicycles. Bicycles, because it's also a healthy issue to ride. Then later some of them had issues, and then we said, okay, now reside there, reside in the parish where you can walk to your people, make transact walks and know your parish. support the people, the beneficiaries, and let them also find a way of how to find a new parish. So that's the strategies. We cannot, if we deviate from it, we are going to kill the strategy itself. So let's be consistent with the principles of the strategy and how it's supposed to be implemented. And it's the same thing with transport for monitoring here, and supervising circles. What are we talking about? In the short term, in the long term, perhaps there will be resources for doing that. But if they are not yet there, let's utilize what we have as we wait, as we also keep presenting them issues to the policy committee and see what happens, depending on the available resources. Yes. And then computers and data, yeah, really we need all computers, those are needed. But at least the good thing is that we have already started the process. We've given tablets, where are your tablets? We gave tablets which were used in the census to local governments, and we also gave more computers. So the goodwill is there. It's just, that everybody needs, which we cannot do at once, but at least whenever there's chance, this one government knows we need to provide this. And it's okay to keep on, reminding and talking until something is done. So thank you for bringing it out. Circle leaders for loan processing, facilitation, at least we need to appreciate the little that has been given. It's not yet to the optimum, but this is good enough to start. But also, when you think about the strategy very well, it's not that government is going to keep on facilitating to 100%. What they are doing is to build the capacity, slowly build the capacity of circles. Eventually, circles are supposed to be sustaining these things by themselves. If they call a commercial officer to come to support, later when they have grown, they have resources, business development services, and what you are going to help them do. Then they should be the one to facilitate you to go there. So that is the dream we have. In the next few years, President has committed that every 1 year, for the next, even Sanja, they are going to keep giving this money. He has even promised they are going to increase the amount. So the idea is to empower these circles so much, build their capacity, so that they are the ones who are going to be doing these facilitation issues after they have got the money from their interest or from their, say, whatever money that will come, it is them. So they are the ones supposed to be facilitating commercial officers, facilitating whoever to help them do their work. So we need to build the capacity of the circles so that they are able to have these other, what we call business development services, to be able to help our farmers, our beneficiaries to benefit better. When the president was moving around, I think in one of the places he was saying, how do we now strategize to make process of eggs, for example, if they have increased, if they have been produced massively, how do we build? We need to start thinking of building an industry that is going to process eggs into baby food, so that we increase value to the eggs for nutrition purposes of the country, but also for increased income by our beneficiaries. So those are the things we now start thinking about and talking about. Initially it was difficult because people needed to really get the strategy well. And then we start thinking about this right now going forward. The third issue, and which is the most important, is the current season we're in, is for elections. And so our listening to the people in the parishes and understand what are the issues, it helps us to respond to those so that when the president comes again for campaigns, he doesn't find the same issues he left here when he was here before. That's why we came ahead of him, or even following back in his steps to follow up and get the issues. What are they that might affect the electoral season? And as we know, the president has been the flag bearer or the torch bearer of PDM. It's his vision, and so we need to make sure that PDM has worked for his leadership and for him, for the nation as a whole, but also to affirm that when it's been introduced, there's a difference from the past. We don't want to, as a secretariat, we've thought that we need to stand firm on that principle and say we are going to open the campaign for the president because he is the torch bearer of this strategy. And if he's not properly voted back, then we risk having this strategy not continue in the right way. So he's so excited about what PDM is delivering, but let's also make the people who are the beneficiaries of PDM know that, so that we can make a statement that PDM has transformed communities, and therefore we are voting the president for this reason and many other reasons. I hope I'm very clear. So we need to see a difference in the percentages which will come out of elections, that something has happened tremendously which has not been the case in the past. We need to show a difference. And so what I'm going to tell the people in the communities is exactly that we need to get out. Some people can say, yeah, we support the president, but then Abel for what reason? We need to speak these things out. We need to teach the people to understand that the president has not just been in power for this long, but there's impact, there's something why we keep electing him. So these are the opportunities we have using our structures as PDM, the parishes, the beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries as well, but reside in parishes, as a way of mobilizing this support. So we want to go down and listen and hear what are they saying, what are the issues, are there anything that are going to affect the elections season, or we are good to go. That's why we selected a few parishes and districts to represent the whole, so that we can have a feel of what the environment is like. And so we thought we needed to let you know as a district before we go to the communities, so that we go there with one mind, but also to first listen to you and understand, is there anything like what he has presented? These are the issues which can be sorted given time, because the president is talking about prioritization. It's not just a matter of having so many things come as priorities. You must arrange them strategical and say, I'm going to deal with this, then tomorrow this, then the other time this. But we know there are so many challenges, of course, which we can't finish in one day. And coming from Ministry of Local Government, we don't just look at PDM issues, but if there's any other issue related to the work, especially to do with the Ministry of Local Government, we'll be happy to also hear them. That's why we came as a team. The letter that was written to you is properly copied to the Pdm Secretaria and to other people. So we are all together in the spirit of what we are doing. And so I'll respond briefly to this, but before that, I wanted to communicate a little bit more on why we are here. First of all, when the PDM was started, as you know, PDM is not a program, it's a strategy that government is using as per the National Development Plan to end poverty and subsistence livelihoods, to move people from dependency from subsistence to the money economy. And so when we started, as you said, there was very negative reactions, and we believe it's because people hadn't yet understood what PDM was. But right now, I hope that everybody is comfortable. That's why we are hearing still, things are going down, the issues have been sorted. and we thank you because I haven't heard about this, getting some people who are extorting and then moving with them until they are prosecuted and the money recovered. Yesterday I was somewhere and then the situation was very pathetic. Leaders were saying, now we don't know, they arrested somebody, and then it went to state said, yes, there's an issue, there's evidence, but let them go and reconcile. Then I'm like, was it anything personal? It's not. If somebody has extorted, you need to push him to the level of prosecution. And that's what the president has said, that if it involves PDM money, you must prosecute those people, remove them from their positions, and then prosecute them. And this is what you've done, Mr. RDC. We are very happy about that. I mean, getting this evidence shows that it can be done if people have the willingness to do things right, to go all the way until we sort out issues. Because PDM is a major program for government, and it's not just the 3 years we've moved with. It's going to continue for a long time, and government is investing a lot of money. So if we are not as vigilant as you people have been, then we risk wasting government money without really achieving the intended purpose. So what you're doing is very critical, and we'd like to use this as an example to encourage others.
Someone get us one chair.
To encourage other...
Chairman, you're welcome.
To encourage other people.
Martin, give us that chair.
In local governments to do the same. And I hope we'll have opportunity in this week to be on radio. We want to really blow this out and say that people have to act the way PALLISA has acted in order to end the corruption and extortion of money. It's not something that we can fight at once. It's progressive, but at least showing goodwill that this can be done is very, very important. Yeah, and so we wanted to, coming from that background where there was a lot of, animosity in the beginning, we want now to hear the stories which are happening, like these that we've had, and also go to the community and hear how the progress is, how they're benefiting from the program, and to encourage them and make them have confidence that government still thinks PDM is the last mile program, and therefore it has to go all the way to make good impact to the communities. And secondly, I wanted to let us know that as Pdm Secretariat, we are now starting to think about another question after we disbursed 90, you're saying 90-something%. So we need to now ask, so what? If we disbursed, is that the measure that we want to stop at? Yes, it's good that we disbursed. People have invested. We don't know in what you've said that you've kept monitoring, and we've seen actual programs on the ground, their enterprises. But then, so what? Is that enough? It introduces us to the pillar number 1, which is the most important pillar, which is agricultural value chains. A value chain moves from production to the market. Is that happening, or is just production? We've done, poultry for eggs. We've increased productivity of production. Now what? If many eggs are now coming, what does it tickle in your minds? We should now start thinking about how do we move those eggs to the next step, along the value chain. We need to now start programming on how, if production has increased, or if not, how do we increase productivity, and then how do we plan for storage of those items, enterprises, products. How do we make sure the off-takers or whoever is supposed to buy them finds them in good state? How do we add value so that the money can increase? Because this is really business, a money thing that we're talking about. And then how do we market up to the consumer? So these are the questions we now want to start to introduce and think about. Much as we still need to have more money, because I know not everybody has been able to access the the revolving fund. So there's need for more disbursement, but also as we disburse, after 3 years, we don't want those who have worked hard, their products to start getting spoiled. We want to now think of how do we move them along the value chain to the market. And that's the question that the Secretariat is asking, and also government as a whole, because the NDP4 has been designed to be implemented as a program approach. I think some people are able to understand better than technical people. When we talk about program approach, it means all programs are harmonized and planned together to make an impact. We monitor for impact, not just for output, that we are saying we've given you this, how many have been received, how much has been disbursed, how many have received the fund, how many have invested in the right enterprises. Then we go high and ask other questions that lead us to making sure that people are really gaining from this program. So that's what I wanted to hint on, because that's going to lead us in the next 5 years or so of the NDP implementation. So all stakeholders need to start thinking like that. If we don't have enough storage facilities, for example, for the enterprises, for the products, how are we going to make sure production has been increased? For example, tomatoes, how do we make sure that our people, our beneficiaries don't lose? If the season has come well and people have produced massively, what is the next important thing? That would be to have them give access machinery for processing and maybe packaging, and then sell them with a higher value. So this is what I wanted to also talk about in this meeting, so that we know this is where we are going, and it's no longer going to be just disbursement and then we leave it there. So as we monitor the enterprises, the reason why PDM has been designed with 7 priority enterprises was for this very reason I'm talking about, so that people are grouped according to the enterprises, and then they can be properly moved towards value addition and to the market.